The Labour leadership candidates get ready to ruin the party even more, and we look at each candidate to see what they actually stand for. Right, hello everybody and welcome to another video. We have a situation where Jeremy Corbyn, after the election when he lost, the next morning he came out and said, "Oh, I'm going to resign. That's it, I'm going, guys." Everyone got excited. Now, since then we haven't had any signs of him actually resigning. So it could be in the next 3 months, could be in the next 6 months, could be the next 4 years. Now, that hasn't stopped the potential candidates from actually sorting out their stuff to make sure that they declare quite early. We've already had one person declaring properly that they're running. So now in this video we're going to look at all the options and see which side of the party they're from and how they're going to ruin the party even more and how out of touch they actually are. Now, before we continue, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe and click on that bell next to it so you get notified when I release a new video. And now, let's go and start with all the options that we have on paper. Now, the Labour Party are under pressure to actually make sure that the next leader is female, because all the other parties have picked a female candidate already, a female leader or prime minister. Now, the Labour Party is the only one left. And that's why I kind of feel sorry for the one male candidate they have, Keir Starmer, because Keir Starmer is the token boy. And he probably doesn't have any chance because, as I said, they're under pressure to make sure the next leader is female. So he picked his timing quite badly this time. Poor Keir. Now, on the left, we have Rebecca Long-Bailey. Then in the middle, Angela Rayner and Lisa Nandy on the right. Now, these names have been mentioned in the past few months in terms of the rumours. But the update is that apparently Rebecca Long-Bailey and Angela Rayner have made a pact that Rebecca will run as leader and Angela will run as deputy leader. So this is the dream ticket. Yeah. And we have Lisa Nandy on the right, who's not a Corbynista. She's not, we're going to obviously look at each profile, but she's more of a brownite, kind of to the left of Blair. And yeah, they absolutely hate her. So she's also running for leadership. Now let's go through each one of them in detail, starting with our favourite, Emily Thornberry. Now, Emily Thornberry is the Shadow Foreign Secretary under Jeremy Corbyn. She has had issues with the Labour leader and because she was against this whole early snap election that Boris Johnson called and Corbyn eventually supported, because she knew what could happen with the Jeremy Corbyn as leader, and she was actually right. Now, Emily Thornberry, as we said, is not your typical traditional Labour politician. She's very out of touch. She's very London-centric. She was once outside of London, I think towards Essex, campaigning a few years ago. She took a picture of a house that had a white band outside and a St. George's flag flying, and she tweeted that basically to make fun of that household and say, "Oh God, typical white band man with the St. George's flag. What is wrong with these people?" I mean, okay. So this is Emily Thornberry. If she becomes leader, then the Labour Party could say goodbye to all the ordinary working class votes from the Midlands, the North, Wales and all that. So let's see how Emily does. She's also a terrible speaker. So yes. Next we have Rebecca Long-Bailey. Now, she's a northern female MP. She's the shadow business secretary, and she's very, very close to Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell. Now, that's because Rebecca Long-Bailey is their pet. They've been raising her, well, politically speaking, and so the only difference between Rebecca Long-Bailey and Jeremy Corbyn is that she's more northern and, well, female. So this is going to be absolutely disastrous for the Labour moderates, because the policies that she stands for and everything that she stands for, with all hating this country and nationalising everything, it's Corbyn. She just looks different. Now, the Labour moderates have been hoping that one day Jeremy Corbyn resigns so that they could take the party back. But if Long-Bailey becomes leader, then they could join the Tory party, or the Lib Dems. But at the same time, this is not looking good for Labour moderates because Rebecca Long-Bailey is the favourite currently to win the leadership. Next we have Lisa Nandy. Lisa Nandy is another northerner. She's the MP for Wigan. Her seat is very Brexity. She voted Remain herself, but at the same time she has moved on because she understands that democracy matters. Now Lisa Nandy was the former Shadow Energy Secretary. She's against a second referendum. She voted for Boris Johnson's Brexit deal, so she's completely hated by the Remain side of the Labour Party, but also the Corbynistas because she also hates Jeremy Corbyn. So she's more of a Brownite. She's kind of to the left of Blairism, and economically kind of like Ed Balls. Basically incompetent, but a bit nicer. I've actually dealt with her on a personal level a number of times. She's lovely. She's quite misguided and naive, but you have to be if you're Labour. So that's kind of Lisa Nandy. She's going to be facing a lot of challenges in this race because she's not the only technically moderate candidate. Again, I wouldn't really call Lisa Nandy moderate in that sense, but compared to Corbyn and McDonnell, then yeah, she is. Next we have Sir Keir Starmer. Starmer, who is Labour's shadow Brexit secretary, who has been one of the main figures in Parliament, in the last Parliament, to make sure that Brexit is not delivered, and he's been semi-successful because we've delayed Brexit a number of times, and he wants to be the next Labour leader. Now Keir Starmer is interesting because, as we said earlier, this is the one time that Labour are being pushed to pick a female leader, and Keir Starmer just walked in and said, "Hi guys, can I play too?" It's not your turn. You're not going to win. So if he wins, again, the identity politics side of the Labour movement, they're going to go mental because they're like, what? Another white man. So at least he's got better hair than Jeremy Corbyn. Now, the problem with Keir Starmer is kind of like Emily Thornberry. He's a Remainer. His platform is Remain. We don't know what else he stands for apart from Remain. So is he going to be standing on a platform to rejoining the European Union? Or is he going to just storm into Downing Street and stop Brexit somehow until the end of January? So this is Keir Starmer's problem. He's also male, so good luck with that. Now, speaking of identity politics, next is Jess Phillips. Now, Jess Phillips calls herself a socialist. She hates Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn hates Jess Phillips. But that doesn't mean she's, better. She's still a very much your typical traditional Labour lefty. She's not really a moderate in that sense of the word, and she's obsessed with identity politics. Now, in the past, Jess Phillips has said certain things that a lot of people thought she's moderate, she's sensible, but she's not really a nice person. She attacks conservatives just because they're conservative, even if you just happen to vote conservative once, which will be a lot of you guys. Yeah, she doesn't like you anymore. So, and she also has a bad temper. We already just dealt with the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, who has a bad temper. Now, we don't need another one. Jess Phillips also loses her temper every now and then, and that's not really good. So we need someone calm and collected, which reminds us the next one is Yvette Cooper. Now, Yvette Cooper, who used to be obviously in the shadow cabinet under Ed Miliband, and she ran for leadership in 2015 against Jeremy Corbyn and lost, which is embarrassing because she's one of the more kind of, technically speaking, competent side of the Labour Party. She's a Remainer. She's a bit of more of a Blairite and Brownite, basically. And her problem is that she, just like Keir Starmer, but from the backbenchers, she's been very proactive in the last Parliament to stop or delay Brexit, and she's been semi-successful. The whole Cooper Act that came out with Leung and with Dominic Grieve. She's been behind all these new operations to destroy democracy, and she's been quite good at it. So that maybe she is a bit competent. So, but this is the last chance the Labour moderates have to save their party, because they've been hoping for Jeremy to go at some point, which is, again, it's coming up soon. And Yvette Cooper is the only, technically speaking, competent but also appealing candidate for them. Now, she does have to clarify her position on Brexit/Remain, because if Brexit's happening, is she going to run on the platform of Remain, or is she going to move back to the whole economic leftism of the Labour Party, like Blair, like Brown? She has to clarify her position in that sense. But if she loses, then we don't know what's going to happen to the Labour moderates, because that was their only hope. And we'll see how it goes. Now, speaking of hope, if the Labour wants to lose their hope, this next person is the perfect choice. Dawn Butler. Now, Dawn Butler, now, some of you might know her, but the majority of people would say, Dawn who? Where did she even come from? Her job is Shadow Equalities Secretary. Now, I don't even know what that means. Now, I'm guessing that's just saying nice things and, oh, we all believe in niceness, equality, yay. So that's Dawn Butler, Shadow Equality Secretary, who has mentioned previously that she wants to be the next deputy leader, like Richard Bergen. Now she's apparently might be reconsidering her position to actually run for leadership. Now, why? Don't know. I mean, she could just back Rebecca Long-Bailey. Just the easy option. But it's kind of like having Rory Stewart or Sam Gyimah running randomly for absolutely no reason. Why is she running? So this is Dawn Butler. This is the Labour Party. Interesting. And but the problem is, again, as we said, what happened in the 2019 election, only, a week or so ago, they've lost a massive chunk of their core votes based on not just with Brexit Remain stuff, but also the whole economic policies and the whole left behind mentality. And we look at the numbers, and this is what's happened. Now, when it comes to the Party of Workers, which was the Labour Party, in 2015, 37% of working class people voted for Labour, 29% voted Tory. Even in 2017, even though the Tories came up to 41, 44% still voted Labour. 2019 with Boris Johnson, the Tories on 47% and Labour massively down to 34%, Lib Dems on 8%, the Brexit Party on 3%. Brexit Party actually did worse than UKIP in 2017 and 2015, but it's kind of different election anyway. With the Labour leadership stuff going on, we have a situation where Jeremy Corbyn still hasn't resigned. And he's a bit grumpy these days because when he came out of his house the other day, I think it was yesterday morning, he was asked if he's going to be resigning or backing anyone else.
Morning, Mr. Corbyn. Who do you want to be your successor as Labour leader? Who do you want to be your successor? Will you endorse a candidate? Are you in denial about your election defeat?
Oh, Jeremy. Now, obviously he's stressed these days, he's very grumpy, so my thoughts and prayers are with you, Jezza. Now, let's move on to the Photo Funhouse, guys, because Photo Funhouse is a group of Brexiteers with a small business in this country that do canvas prints. Now, they have a political and non-political templates. One of them is this, with Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson, and you got the Remainers looking at them grumpy. This is actually quite perfect for a Christmas present if you haven't done it. And if you want an American version, we also have the Donald Trump version with inauguration, and it's interesting timing because he was impeached earlier today. Although I think he's going to win the votes in the Senate because that's just how it works in America. But this is actually quite good for a Christmas present as well. You got grumpy Obama, you got Bill Clinton staring at Ivanka, obviously. And so this is actually quite good. I'll put the link in the description as always. Check out these guys and support their work because they're quite good at what they do. And as always, we have actually, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you're enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell next to it so you get notified. The videos that we do usually come out every day at 5:45 p.m. UK time. And if you don't know, obviously we've reached 100,000 subscribers, so thank you. We are organising a thank you party in January, hopefully mid-January, after the whole Brexit vote stuff, because we're going to have some MPs as guests as well. And the plan is to have a thank you party combined with a pre-Brexit victory, but also the whole majority government victory party. So I'll let you guys know as soon as that's already sorted. We are just organising the venue and the speakers, so I'll let you guys know. As always, I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.